Okay, so here we are with week 3 of the Not So Casual Pokemon League, specifically my game preps for this game. So as you can see here, my opponent this week is Pyro, and as usual, his team is very good. Um, he and Hunter are both kind of known for preferring the same old playstyle most seasons, where you go for a very fast, scary pivot, usually Coco if it's available. It was. And then you get some like crazy strong breakers like Mega Gallade. Pyro really only has the Mega Gallade in terms of like breakers, but yeah. And then just some like good defensive pieces that Coco can switch into if you're not finding that opportunity to get your big breaker in. So you've got your Tangrowth, Moltres, Swampert, Firewater, Grass Core, Overquill with a bit more defensive utility. Licky Licky is kind of one of the best, low tier chunky Pokemon for just throwing out a Wish, throwing out a T-Wave, throwing out a knockoff. And then Goldango's an interesting choice. His team isn't exactly super hazard stacky. Like, Overquill has hazards, Swampert has rocks, but honestly, Goldango's just a really good Pokemon, even outside of a hazard stack, and type-wise, it fits his team very well. Steel Ghost is phenomenal typing. He's not particularly ground weak, what with Tangrowth and Moltres. Nor is he particularly dark weak with a big Fairy and then a big Mega. No notable dark weaknesses besides Goldango, so type-wise it works very well, and it's just, some nice special attack to throw on this team when Mega Gallade is bringing all the pain on the physical side. So, very scary team overall, very well put together. As for my team, as you've seen, if you've seen my previous videos, we have this team that the gimmick is nothing has legs. So we've got Thunderous Eye as our big speed, well, not that fast, but it is our speed control. Ferrothorn for hazards and just general defensive utility, and also apparently baiting everyone who can run a fire move to run a fire move. Primarina, just very solid, good water type. Hydrapple is honestly very similar to Tangrowth, just high, but more damage, but has that 4x weakness to poke at. Chandelure, more kind of type coverage, but we're getting a lot of like slow, strong special attackers, which isn't the best to stack a million of. Mega Shark, bad Pokemon. Glamora's, Mr. Hazard stack. Weezing G I actually haven't brought yet, which is unusual because it's a really good Pokemon, but just good defensive utility. Vanillux, my apparently hidden goat, and then some low tiers. As for this week, I'm really, I really need to be careful of just Coco pivoting around me, and also need to make sure I don't lose to Goldango, whether it's Scarf, Shadow Ball, because my team's kind of weak to Ghost, or whether it's, like, specially bulky, because my team just is mostly special attackers. Whatever the set is, I gotta be careful of it. And also I need to not get swept by Mega Gallade. So those are kind of my 3 big things. The defensive Pokemon here are all good, and I gotta be mindful of them, but they're not, like, game enders. So, as such, let's go into what I've brought. So first, Thunderous, its speed control. Notably, it's faster than Mega Gallade, which is huge. So if Mega Gallade ever gets a kill, I can always go to Thunderous, and then if it's in T-Bolt range, I get to click it. If not, I get to Volt Switch out. And importantly for this matchup, his electric immunity is Swampert, who is super weak to Grass Knot. I think I only need, like, 20% chip to guarantee the kill, or something really generous like that, because I think it's 100 base power for Swampert, which is 400 with the super effective. So yeah, there's a good chance he's Rindoberry Swampert. I need to keep that in mind, but anyway, that's Thunderous. Sandaconda I have as it's my only ground type, unfortunately, so it's my Coco switch in. That said, it's actually not that heavy for a ground type, which means Grass Knot's only 80 base power before super effective advanced it. And with special defense investment, I'm only taking about 33% from Coco, which is nice. Then I have just Glare, because I feel like Glare spam does really well here. The things that are immune, Coco and Goldango really don't want to stay in on Earthquake, and the other things don't want to get paralyzed. So between Glare and Earthquake, I feel like Sandaconda actually has a pretty good matchup here. Glamora, I have... It's a bit of an interesting bring. He does have an Overquill, but it's not, no one loves bringing Overquill. It's not a great Pokemon, at least in my opinion. And I think if he does bring it, he's a little bit weaker overall versus me. It's one of those physically defensive Pokemon. My team is very specially offensive. So I'm not super scared of Overquill if it comes, but if it doesn't come, Toxic Debris goes very well against this team, affected by T-Spikes, affected by T-Spikes, affected by T-Spikes, affected by T-Spikes, and Obviously, I don't have Power Gem on it, but he can't know that until I reveal all my moves, so Moltres doesn't want to actually come in on it to try to clear. And then AV just, you know, Coco, Goldingo, Moltres are all special attackers. It'd be nice to be able to switch it on them a little bit more. It's never living Gallade anyway. It's not living EQ Tangrowth. It's not living Swampert, so I wanted to focus on the defensive side that I actually can get away with, and then the speed is just to be faster than Goldingo. So, yeah. It's also, the other thing to note is that Poison, Grass, Ground is actually very good against this team overall. Ground, nothing amazing for Gallade. Ground, Poison, Grass, Ground. So, yeah, it covers the team very well. I can't, you know, hard count on it, but I think it'll be good, and I think if I kill Overquill, or even just forcing it with some T-Spikes will be nice. Ferrothorn I have here, mostly to alleviate some hazard pressure, so I could even run Assault Vest Glamora in the first place. So I got spikes on it. T-Wave, again, just paralyzing this team is good. Knockoff for Goldingo, and Gyro Ball Choppleberry is so that I can take a close combat from Gallade and then kill it back with Gyro Ball. Because Mega Gallade is very scary, and I would like all my Pokemon to at least have something against it, besides maybe Glamora. Hydrapple is honestly really good versus team overall. He doesn't have an Ice type. Assault Vest Hydrapple tanks Swampert Ice Beam pretty handily, or Ice Punch. It's not great versus Moltres, but we do live in Uninvested Hurricane and can regen out. And just Dragon clicks pretty well into this team. Because of Assault Vest and Coco's low special attack, we can 1v1 it with Earth Power pretty easily. And yeah, otherwise Assault Vest Hydrapple is just kind of good into all these Pokemon. Mega Gallade can bring Triple Axle, but it is a little strained on move slots, especially because I have Primarina and Wheezing Galar. It's kind of forced to run both its stabs, and then it kind of needs Triple Axle to beat Hydrapple, and then if it is Triple Axle and I can predict that, I can switch into Ferrothorn. So, actually, let me quickly put Flame Body instead of Flash Fire there. Yeah. So, a lot of good stuff there. And then Chandelure, this last slot I was actually very torn on. Initially I had Primarina, then I had Sharpedo, and then I decided to go for Chandelure. I was really torn on what to put there, but essentially I need something that can threaten like a bulky setup Goldingo, which not much that I have right now can. So that's my original draft. I had Primarina, but then I realized that I was very weak to like Spadef Goldingo. So then I switched to Sharpedo because that kills it, but the thing is Sharpedo is kind of a bad Pokemon, especially when there's a Tangrowth. So, eh. And then I ended up going for Chandelure because it's got enough power, even though it's special attacker, to just blow through Goldingo because super effective stab. And then I figured, you know, if I do get all these paralyses, Thunder Waves, Poisons off, you know, I can Hex Spam through a late game. And generally, Ghost is very good into this team. You know, Overquill could be a problem for it, like a Spadef Overquill, but I think I have enough things pressuring Overquill that I can wear it down first. So yeah, that's the team. That's the plan. And you know, Pyro's a very good player. I would not be surprised if I just crumpled to Mega Gallade. I don't really have the best answers to it. But this is what I got. See you when the game starts.